You're watching Access Minnesota. Here's Jim Dubois.
Brent Goodermont is a personal trainer and cycling instructor at Lifetime Fitness. He shares some bicycling fitness tips with us and tells us about his favorite cycle trails here in the Twin Cities and throughout greater Minnesota. Brent Goodermont is a personal trainer and cycling instructor at Lifetime Fitness in St. Louis Park. Brent, welcome to Access Minnesota.
Thanks for having me, Jim.
Brent, you just led a ride. Tell us where you went and how often do you do this?
We do this weekly. Every Wednesday, Jim, we lead a ride at 9:30, and today we went out to the Fort Snelling area and back. That's about 28.2 miles, and we had a good time.
How big of a group?
We had 12 people today.
And from all ages, pretty good mix, or what?
Yeah, it's a good mix of people. A lot of people who are semi-retired, who have some daytime hours on their hand, and we had about equal split men, women.
Mm-hmm. How long have you been instructing cycling?
This is my second year. You know, it's been a long time since I rode a bike, and now with the trail system so developed, I just have a newfound hobby and a new passion, and it's a great time. Two years now.
Let's talk about cycling as an exercise. Mm-hmm. How do you rate it, and what are some of the advantages of cycling, say, over other exercises?
I think it's nice because it's a little easier on the joints as compared to, say, running, which is a very popular activity and a very good activity, by the way. But I think in cycling, you're not as hard on your ankles and your knees and your hips. And I just think outdoor cycling, especially living in Minnesota, you just want to be outside. You want to be in the fresh air. You want to be in the sunshine. And I think it just motivates you to work a little harder. I think cycling offers advantages of doing hills. Some people wouldn't necessarily run hills, but cycling, we have a few hills in the Twin Cities. You can ride up hills. And I just think cycling is an easy, safe, and really lifelong activity.
What kind of advice do you give to beginning cyclists?
To get used to being on their bike. You know, even today we had a couple of people who flatted, one person who had a little crash, and some of that is just learning to handle your bike. And so I think when you get out there, you don't have to spend a lot of money on a bike, but you should learn how to use it. You know, how to gear, how to brake, be aware of your surroundings, whether it's squirrels or traffic or other cyclists or kids. Just be really safe with your bike. Learn to make it part of your body so that you're not having to think when you have to react really fast. I think that's the best advice I could give. Just get used to your bike. You don't have to do that at 20 miles an hour. You can do it at 10 miles an hour around the lake, around the neighborhood.
Now, you lead rides for people with varying levels of cycling proficiency. This was a more advanced ride, correct? Let's say you're an absolute beginner, that you've biked a little bit, maybe the bike's been hanging up in the garage for a while, you finally decided, this is the summer, I'm going to get out and cycle. Let's talk about physical preparation. What should you do before you actually get on that cycle and go for your first ride?
Well, I'd probably consider a couple of things. A, just some general walking. If you're somewhat deconditioned, just can you walk around Lake Harriet? Can you walk up and down the creek or the parkway? Can you attend an indoor cycling class and see how you do and what it's like to move your feet in that position while seated? Then get out on your bike. Can you ride a half hour? Can you make it around Lake Harriet? Can you make it around Lake Calhoun? And see how you feel. And then show up at 12 noon on Wednesday and ride with me. And we will teach you a little bit about how to gear and some of the safety issues that I talked about earlier.
Let's talk about the trails here in the Twin Cities first. What are some of your favorite trails and why?
That's a good question. I would say the river parkways, just because it's such a beautiful scene, the Mississippi River. Whether you're on the St. Paul side or the Minneapolis side, to see Lake Street Bridge, Ford Dam, the road conditions are really nice. They're recently paved, new trails. That's my favorite. But all over the Twin Cities, we can make our way from here, St. Louis Park, because the Cedar Trail is right over there. We can make it to downtown St. Paul. We've done that before on Saturdays. We make it to Harriet Island and back, all on trails. You can make it up to Robbinsdale via the Worth Parkway. You can make it on the loose line out to Plymouth. Obviously the lakes, the creek system that people know about, over the University of Minnesota. I think it's a great system. I wish I could quote you the mileage, but I think it's scenic. The trails are in good condition, and it's safe. You're away from traffic.
We obviously can't talk about every cycling trail throughout the state of Minnesota, but tell us about some of your favorite trails in greater Minnesota.
Oh, easily. The Munger Trail. Starting at Hinckley, Minnesota, goes all the way up to Duluth. You're in just pine country, and it's just very, very enjoyable. Really good sight lines, not a lot of cross streets to worry about, maybe more deer to worry about, but not traffic. And that's probably my favorite. My second favorite would be the Wobegon Trail. That starts in St. Joseph, Minnesota, and goes, I think, past Alexandria. You can get one out of Brainerd, the Heartland Trail. Cannon Falls Trail is a trail that we use a lot here. It's called the Cannon Trail. It goes from Cannon Falls, Minnesota to Red Wing, and that's a nice 20-mile trail one way. So those are some of my favorites.
Do you find the trails generally pretty well maintained?
Yes. I'm not sure who does that at night, but somebody's taking care of these trails. Specifically, I know down in Cannon Falls, there's a $3 day fee, and you see literally every time I've rode that trail, been on that trail, you see a pickup truck and 2 maintenance people taking care of it and maintaining any potholes, sweeping things up, marking things that might be dangerous for riders. So I think Minnesota, I can't quote any statistics, but we're way up there in terms of our trail system.
Right, we know we have a lot of trails in Minnesota. Any wishes for expansion, any things you'd like to see happen, any areas that you think need a trail that don't have one now, or anything that you think might improve the current trails?
It'd be nice if there was a way you could get from St. Paul to Hinckley. There's a trail right now called the Gateway, but it doesn't make it all the way to Hinckley. It stops near Stillwater. So someday we could stand right here, hop on our bikes, Jim, and we could go to Duluth on a trail. I think that'd be pretty nice.
Brent Goodermont, cycling instructor, personal trainer at Lifetime Fitness, St. Louis Park. Thanks so much for joining us on Access Minnesota.
Thank you very much.
That's all for this month's Access Minnesota. Coming up next month, it's a time of leadership transition at the University of Minnesota as President Brunick steps down on June 30th. Brunick will share the challenges he faced while leading the U through a major budget crisis and his thoughts on the future of higher education. Thanks for watching.
Access Minnesota. Issues that matter to you. Join us again next week as we bring you the newsmakers and stories that shape our everyday lives. Access Minnesota is produced by the Minnesota Broadcasters Association in cooperation with the University of Minnesota's College of Liberal Arts.